Okay, students, so we will be talking today about the second unit of municipal solid waste management. So it consists of on-site storage and processing. Uh, the second unit will be divided into 3 to 4 lectures for better explanation, and the reference and textbooks will be the same. First, the topic we will be discussing is on-site storage. So on-site, typically the word on-site means the functions or activities that are concerned with solid waste at the place where the waste is generated. So on-site means where the source of the solid waste, at that place the function or activities that will be involved means the on-site activity. Now on-site storage means where the waste is generated at that particular point. Storage should be focused, or storage should be done in what way, in what manner, that we will be discussing. So on-site storage before the final disposal, or we can say before the treatment, or before collection, is done at mainly 3 levels: at source, at community level, at transfer stations. So first is at source. Solid waste are often stored at the source in containers until they are picked up by waste collectors, means before the collection method by collection crew, or taken out to be thrown into an open space or a community bin. So before we are disposing the solid waste to the community bin, or at some open dumping, which should not be done actually, or we should be disposed or handed over the solid waste to the waste collectors, or on a daily basis. Before that, we should store the solid waste at in some containers, and according to solid waste management rules 2016, this should be the total solid mixed type of solid waste should be segregated and placed in different type of containers, that we will discuss and see afterwards. So first we have to store the solid waste at the source level, at the generation level. Second one is community level. So at the community level, it should be stored in some community container. So community beans, you can call it as community beans also. Community beans are used in crowded and narrow market areas, which is a common feature of most developing countries like India. Because of the higher cost of door-to-door collection, many waste management authorities have introduced community bins. So, some of the cities we have seen, and nowadays it is also prevalent, that the authorities, especially the waste management authorities of that city or town, they are introducing door-to-door collection method by collection crew, and with the help of some equipment, or manually to the collection vehicle. But it involves some cost also. So due to this restriction, at community level, we should, or we can say the waste management authorities, or authority of the administrative authority of that city, should place some procure first, and then place some community bin or community container, maybe of plastic, maybe of metal, that we will see afterwards. We will discuss in depth, in details. That should be, community bins should be placed for some colony area, for a city area also, for village also, and for market area crowded, and also for offices, school, colleges, institutions, and for multiplex, large establishments, etc. Third level is at transfer station. So transfer station is a new type of facility, generally and not most commonly used for any city, but it has so many beneficial points if it is installed and it is constructed for a city. So transfer station are established for economic reasons in cities which have long haulage distances to final disposal sites. So where it should be established or constructed, this facility should be constructed where, for a bigger city, for a larger city, where from the source to the processing unit or to the final disposal site, means landfill site, the distances between those 2 points are very much longer, so which have longer haulage distances. Smaller collection vehicles bring in the waste collected from the at the source of generation or from the source of generation or from the community bins, and larger vehicles transport them away to the final disposal sites. Transfer stations are also used as collection and sorting points for recycling of materials. So now you can understand that for if we want to recycle and if we want to segregate or sort different types of waste as per their characteristics, and want to recycle or reuse or remanufacture the some products from the waste, then we have to construct or install or establish some type of intermediate facility, and this facility is known as transfer station. So basically storage will be at source level, at community level. Sometimes it is written as the community level storage is written as secondary storage, or from secondary storage point or secondary collection point, and third one is at transfer stations. Now there is I will be discussing some extra points regarding on-site handling. So what is on-site handling? It is the very first step in waste management. It involves individual family members, means residents of that household and communities, all of whom need to know how to handle waste properly at their personal level, at the individual level. So at household level also, at our home also, we should know how to handle the waste properly. So this activity is known as on-site handling of waste. Handling means the separation of waste into their different types, means according to their characteristics. Maybe some hazardous, maybe wet waste, maybe dry waste, etc. Now waste storage involves proper containers. Now we are coming back to the storage. So waste storage involves proper containers, like we have seen that some separate beans, green colored or blue colored or white colored beans are generally used. So at community level also we have seen plastic community container or metal iron community container that we have seen in our local places. So proper container, number one. Then efficient transport without spillage at disposal sites. Not only to the disposal site, for to the processing unit or treatment unit also, the transport or conveyance of that storage waste after collection should be efficient and without spillage, means without spreading of the waste on the roads or highways. It depends on, so storage depends on type of containers. Where the containers are placed means its location, aesthetic and collection methods, collection frequency also. Containers depends on the characteristics of waste. So what type of containers we should use in our at our household level or at community level, at transfer station, according to the characteristics of waste, the type of container, the volume of container or the size and shape of container should be different. And collection frequency, obviously the volume of container will depend on the collection frequency, because it is whether it is the collection is done at a daily basis or weekly basis or day after tomorrow, means once in 2 days or once in 3 days or weekly basis, that according to this frequency, container volume or capacity of the container should be determined. Space available for placing. So place means space, and place also means is its location, where it should be located, so that at community level you can consider it at community level, because where it should be located, that should be convenient enough so that the residents of that local area they should go and dispose of the waste in separate bins or separate containers. So now first, household level storage of segregated waste. So we should first consider that what we are doing and what we should be doing at our household level. So at household level, dry waste, wet waste and domestic hazardous waste should be stored in separate garbage bins, separate waste bin or separate dustbin of appropriate capacity and color as mentioned in Solid Waste Management Rules 2016. So all the technicalities or technical points and some duties and responsibilities also mentioned in Solid Waste Management Rules 2016. You can get these rules in PDF form from by accessing the Google. It is freely available in the internet. So as per this rule, at household level also we should separate or segregate the waste according to dry waste, wet waste and domestic hazardous waste. Wet waste is to be placed in a covered green bin. There is one diagram at the bottom of the slide. So you can see wet waste should go into the green bin, dry waste to the white bin and domestic hazardous waste to the black bin, and all the bins should be covered, not opened. A container of volume 12 to 15 liter or 0.015 meter cube capacity for a family of 5 members. It is a statistics or fact is given here of 5 family members should be adequate for each dry and wet waste if collection takes place daily. In the case of if the collection frequency once in a day. But if it is not collected daily, if the dry waste is not collected daily, or if automatically the wet waste or domestic hazardous waste will not be collected daily, the container capacity has to be enlarged. We should properly store the different types of segregated waste according to that frequency. So it should be enlarged accordingly. Wet waste collection bins should be washed by the household members each time they are emptied. So whenever the waste collection, it is particularly for waste container bin, whenever the waste wet type of waste we are emptying to the community level or to the waste collector, waste workers who are collecting the waste, we should wash and dry the wet waste collection bin. It is not desirable to use plastic bags in waste bin. We have seen that in the household, at the household level, some of our known relatives or friends, they are using plastic bags in the dustbin, but plastic bag is also a type of waste. So, and it is actually banned, use of plastic is banned nowadays, so we should not use plastic bags in waste bins. Now, for large apartment or complex and multi-storied buildings, large waste collection bins for wet waste and dry waste should be placed at a convenient location. So here there may be door-to-door collection system, or there may be a large waste collection bins placed at the ground level, or maybe basement level, or maybe at ground level in the multi-storied building, or some complex apartment complex. Residents should deposit segregated waste in their respective bins, either by themselves or through organized door-to-door collection, if there is door-to-door collection method is already involved, already operated by the resident welfare association or by community-based organization. If not applicable, if the door-to-door collection method is not applicable, residents have to deposit the segregated waste by themselves. Specification of bins and containers shall be compatible with primary collection vehicles if applicable. So if the vehicles is coming to collect the waste from the ground level ground level container bin, in this case the specification of bins or containers should be compatible with that vehicles. If it is done by hydraulically or some mechanical way. So specifications is are 60 liter or 25 kg bins suitable for 12 households, 120 liter for 24, and 240 liter for 84 households, like this. HDP means high density polyethylene plastic, ultra UV tested, durable, should be strong and could withstand rough handling, and compatible with lifting mechanism on primary collection vehicle if applicable. So if it is the collection from the apartment container bin is going on by some mechanical way, or by lifting mechanism, or some hydraulic mechanism is attached or involved, then also for that case the container should be compatible with some hook, so that it should be lifted by the vehicle. The specific size of the containers depends on the number of connected households and the frequency of collection. So the size of the container depends on the number of connected households, that is written in the fourth point, and the frequency of container also, means it is done by per day basis, or once in 2 to 3 days, or in weekly basis. That is the frequency of the collection. Now a separate point is shown here, that how to store the waste at public places. We are talking earlier we are talking about household level, at some individual house or some large apartment or complex, but at public places or parks also, to ensure that streets or public places are not littered with waste. So litter bins or same community container bins may be provided at important streets or junction of important streets, nearby markets, public places, tourist spots, bus stations or railway stations, large commercial complexes, etc., at a distance ranging from 25 meter to 250 meter depending on the local condition. The collection from this bin should be segregated into wet and waste. In this case also, the waste can be of mixed type, because the people are not, if it is as per the diagram given, if it is installed that green and blue separate bins, then the common people will use for individual wet waste or dry waste. But it is given a single bin is given there at public places, then the collected waste from these bins should be segregated into dry and wet waste. Now, storage of garden waste. So, Solid Waste Management Rules 2016 suggests that horticulture waste from parks and gardens should be collected separately and treated on site to make optimum use of such waste and minimize the cost of collection and transportation. So, garden waste is basically biodegradable in nature, or horticulture waste is same. From parks and gardens, it is biodegradable in nature, so we can and we may manufacture, or we may generate compost from these garden waste from parks and gardens, and it should be treated on site. Also, in large cities, the municipal authority may provide large containers for storage of waste, or through private sector participation. And in small cities also, such waste may be stored on site, and the municipal authority may facilitate its periodic collection either through the solid waste management department of the administration, or by involving some private sector. Private sector means NGO is referred here. The container shall be of a standard design and amenable to automatic hydraulic lifting and unloading of a transport vehicle. So, if the collection process is going on by some transport vehicles which is having some lifting mechanism, lifting technique to lift the container itself, so according to this case or condition, the container should be of compatible to the lifting mechanism of that of the transport vehicle or collection vehicle. This waste should not be mixed with domestic waste. It should be separated. At all levels we are talking about the segregation of waste. So here also, on-site composting of yard waste or green waste should be promoted. It means that the garden waste or yard waste, actually they are green in nature, means they are suitable for composting, and this composting process on the site, means on a part or corner of the park or gardens, should be there should be a compost pit, and the composting method should be promoted and done actually to treat the garden waste on site, so that the cost of collection and transportation and further segregation, all that activities, the cost of that activity should be minimized. Now, special types of waste, including domestic hazardous waste. So first, in the black ink, it is there is a list of special type of waste, including domestic hazardous waste like printer cartridges, electronic parts, equipment, batteries, bleach or household kitchen or draining cleaning agent, car batteries, oil filters, chemical and solvents, insecticides, pesticides, light bulbs, tube lights or CFL bulbs, paints, oils, lubricants used, photographic chemicals used, thermometers and other mercury containing products, discarded medicines, injection needles and syringes. So all these are special types of waste, not generally produced at household level or at some industry or at medical. Especially they are generated according to their use in some industry or some medical facilities. So according to clause 15I, solid waste management rule 2016, it is written that establish waste deposition centers for domestic hazardous waste and give direction for waste generators. That means we are also waste generators, the industry and the medical facilities, hospitals are waste generators. So give them the direction to deposit domestic hazardous waste at this center for its safe disposal. At clause 15J, it is written that ensure safe storage and transportation of the domestic hazardous waste to the hazardous waste disposal facility. One center is set up for the area of 20 square kilometer and notify the timings of receiving domestic hazardous waste at such centers. So first, waste deposition centers has to be established where the waste generators will dispose of or deposit the hazardous waste, and at the deposition centers safe storage and transportation should be ensured, and this type of center should be established within 20 square kilometer for an area of 20 square kilometer, and the rules and regulations and the receiving time of the hazardous waste should be mentioned, should be notified at earlier or initial stages before collection. So now we are going to see some specifications and some details of storage container, like materials for storage container. So it may be with galvanized sheet, iron sheet, GI sheet, maybe of wooden box, maybe paper bags, maybe cardboard boxes, maybe of plastic, maybe of concrete. The material may be of different types, but according to the types or according to the waste characteristics of that waste, we should decide what type of material should be used for making the storage container, and what we should be which we should place for storing the waste in the container. Like for wooden box or paper bags, in the wooden box or paper bags we should not store or deposit the biodegradable nature of waste at our household level, also at community level also. The storage container can be of two types, stationary and hauled. Stationary means it is fixed at one place, used for transferring the waste to collection vehicles at storage sites. So when the stationary container is used, it should be fixed. The collection vehicle will come and they by lifting mechanism or by manual method, the container will be emptied, and the same container should be placed at that storage site. In the case of hauled container, the collection vehicle will come, and it the container should will be lifted and hauled, means transported to the next transfer station or processing point or disposal site, and at the place of the storage site, a new emptied cleaned storage container should be placed. So in any way, the storage container should be of low cost for economic purpose, and it should be of proper size and shape, resistance to corrosion, because some watery type of waste should be stored, or some liquid waste that can be generated. Water tightness, strength and durable. A container for manual handling by one person should not weigh more than 20 kg, because it may lead to occupational health problems such as muscular strain, etc. Containers that weigh more than 20 kg in full condition require 2 or more members. So according to this handling method also, the collection crew members or team members should be defined and should be designed, and the number of workers required should be employed in that basis also. The container should not have rough or sharp edges. Smooth surface is desirable. Should be covered to prevent water entrance. Container body must be strong enough to resist from stray animals and scavengers. Should be provided with a lifting bar for lifting mechanism compatible with hoisting mechanism. The material should be of lightweight material may be recyclable, because if it is broken down, then it should be recycled, because it should not create another type of waste for our community. Easily molded, and the surface must be smooth, not with sharp edges, and resistant to corrosion. At community level, generally we see this type of plastic community container, or some GI sheet or iron metal container, which is actually larger than this size, larger than this the diagram given here at the top of the slide. May be stationary or hauled. Movable containers are provided with hoists and tails compatible with lifting mechanism of collection vehicles, and capacity is 1 to 4 cubic meter. In India, communal containers are oftenly made of concrete. So if it is made of concrete, it is stationary, obviously. In areas with very high waste generation rates on daily basis, strong communal containers with capacity 12 to 20 cubic meter with wheels are generally used. Collection vehicle keeps an empty container as a replacement before it hauls the filled container at the same place. It is advisable to place the containers at 100 to 200 meter apart for economical reasons. So for if it is the diagram is given here, if it is 200 meter apart, the container should be placed in staggered manner, not in one side of the road. So in staggered manner, so that the effective distance is 100 meter, or in case of 200 meter, sometimes it is shown that 50 meter apart the containers are placed, but this distance is not giving an economical aspect regarding the containers, because more number of containers will be required. The major disadvantage of communal containers is the potential lack of maintenance and upgrading or upgradation. So maintenance is also required. The residuals and scattered solid waste emit foul odors or bad odors. If fixed containers, means stationary containers, are built below the vehicle level, the collection workers may be held responsible for sweeping, means for cleaning, and loading the solid waste into transfer containers before being loaded into the collection vehicles. So if it is fixed and not cannot be raised or lifted, then the workers have to clean the surrounding place of the container. Sweeping and cleaning of residuals present in communal containers affect on the time of the workers. It will take time and take a longer time than if the wastes are placed in small containers. As fixed communal containers have high rates of failure, their use is not as advisable. Individual residents should maintain their own containers and locate them in designated places in the case of door-to-door collection. The communal area or the community society area must have water and drains to facilitate the cleaning of the containers also. So these are the points regarding maintenance and upgradation of communal containers. Now secondary storage, regarding some secondary storage of the waste, we will see what type of waste and the capacities and their capacities. To storage depots are required for secondary collection of waste in cities and towns, like cement concrete bins, machinery bins, maybe dhalaus, and metal bins or containers. So but from all these types being unhygienic, cement concrete bins, machinery bins, and dhalaus are being replaced by metal containers. Waste storage containers should be covered and designed to facilitate the mechanical lifting mechanism to avoid the multiple and manual handling and environmental harm. It is necessary to wash the community bin at regular intervals to ensure a healthy and hygienic environment for users and workers also. Bins for community places on public roads or for bulk generators, 1100-liter capacity, four-wheeled bins or containers are generally used, designed for lifting by compactor. 3000 to 7000-liter capacity metal containers are used and which are designed for lifting by dumper placer system. Hook lift containers of 8 cubic meter or larger used for bulk waste containers for both primary and secondary waste collection. Points. Now we will discuss on-site segregation. So regarding on-site segregation, we will see how to segregate the waste. Some points are similar to the previous slides. It means, so on-site segregation means sorting and separation of storage, a separate storage of various components of solid waste, mainly the biodegradable waste including agricultural waste and dairy waste, non-biodegradable waste including recycled materials, non-recyclable materials, combustible waste, sanitary waste, non-recyclable inert waste, domestic hazardous waste, construction and demolition wastes, etc., etc. Waste segregation means dividing waste mainly into dry and waste. Dry waste includes wood and related products, metal, glass, ceramics, maybe aluminium, it is included in metals. Type of waste. Wet waste refers to organic waste. which are generally biodegradable in nature, generated from households, eating establishments, hotels and restaurants, and are heavy in weight due to its moisture content, due to its dampness or moisture content. Waste can also be segregated on the basis of biodegradable and non-biodegradable waste. Segregation is an easy step for disposing of the waste. So objectives are separate recyclable material and reuse. On a first hand, segregation of the waste, and according to the segregated waste we can reuse some type of waste like plastic bottles or plastic bags or cardboard box, etc., etc. Recovery of materials and energy. uh, Recovery of materials can be done at our household levels, but energy recovery of energy is generally most commonly done at some processing plants or processing units. Hazardous waste should be separated in landfills, and minimization of waste because reduction in landfill space. So waste can be minimized if proper on-site segregation should be done, and it should then less quantity of waste will go to the landfill space, and the requirement of landfill area should be reduced. So segregated storage at source, we have already seen that at our household level, wet waste, dry waste and domestic hazardous waste, three types of waste should be ensured. So segregated storage, if done at source level, it is simpler and save cost of segregation of mixed waste. Chances of contamination is negligible. Products are clean and with better quality. Type and size of container or bins are actual used by the users because already segregated. Number of bins as per the segregated waste streams. Successful when segregated waste is not mixed with in any stage. Taken to respective processing or disposal facility directly or through some transfer station. So here a diagram is given that the collection vehicle is itself is having a separate bins for paper, aluminum cans and glass waste, glass type of waste, recyclable waste in the collection vehicle. May be majorly biodegradable and non-biodegradable. In the non-biodegradable, recyclable waste can be of types toxic waste, old medicine, paints, chemical bulbs, etc. Soiled waste means basically hospital waste with blood and wound, cloth soiled with blood and other body fluids. So earlier there was the rule, Municipal Solid Waste Management and Handling Rule 2000, and there it is written that waste must be segregated into following three types: organic waste, recyclable waste and other types of waste. But in 2016 it is amended, the rule is amended, and it is written in clause 4.1 what are the duties of waste generators. So every waste generator, including us, shall segregate and store the waste generated by them in three separate streams for biodegradable, non-biodegradable and domestic hazardous waste in suitable bins like in green, white and black respectively colored bins, and hand over the segregated waste to the authorized waste pickers or collection crew as per the direction or notification given by the local authority. And the waste generator shall wrap securely the used of sanitary waste like diapers, sanitary pads, etc. in the pouches provided by the package provided by the manufacturers or with the package of these products, or in a suitable wrapping material as instructed by the local authorities, and shall place the same in the bin meant for dry waste or non-biodegradable waste. So this type of waste, sanitary waste, should be separated in the dry waste or non-biodegradable waste containers. So segregation as household level, as we have already discussed, that wet waste in the green bin, dry waste in the blue or in white bins, and domestic hazardous waste should be kept in black bins. So these are the examples of different types of waste according to these basic three levels. And in the dry waste also, sub segregation is also can be done: paper, cardboard, cartons, container, packaging materials of all kinds including hazardous waste, rags, rubber, wood, discarded clothes, furniture, metal and glass, all kinds of inert. And further, e-waste, hazardous waste, household medical waste should be separated at household levels. So here is a flowchart diagram. That's municipal solid waste should be segregated at source: recyclable dry waste, may be combustible, may be non-combustible. Organic fraction that are going for biological treatment means first hand on a first hand it should be composted. Inert debris, low grade construction waste or demolition waste, paving of roads. Hazardous waste may be of hospital waste, basically hospital, not hospital waste. Hazardous waste are classified into hospital waste, but nowadays government has notified that hospital waste is a separate type of waste than hazardous waste, and it is named as biomedical waste, and all the rules regulations will be separated from other types of waste, and those are written in biomedical rules. There is a separate biomedical waste handling and management rules. So for non-combustible waste also, glass, metals, and these type of waste will go to the recycling facilities. Combustible waste, packaging material, paper product, wood product, it can be used as fuel pellets. Like biological treatment, composting, vermicomposting, biogas and landfill gases are the treatment techniques. So next, regarding the segregation or sorting, the sorting means the separation of various components of the waste and according to the categories, like for recyclable like paper, plastic, cardboard, metal, glass, etc., from the mixed type of waste. So manual sorting operations can be done. First, unloading. All the sorting operations are generally done in transfer stations, not at any type of factory or facilities. Only at transfer stations it is an intermediate type of facilities that that should be established for sorting, collection, and for sorting operations. So unloading, manually spreading, hand picking of different types of waste according to their reuse value, and collecting of that waste and stockpiling or heaping or piling of the particular shorted waste and the remaining waste which will not be used further. Semi-mechanized sorting operation, unloading of waste, loading of waste on conveyor belts. Now some mechanized options are involved here. So loading of waste on conveyor belts, hand picking of waste off the belts for reuse, and by conveyor belts some of the lighter weight waste like aluminium will go to different type of bins, and some iron metals due to their magnetic value or magnetic effect, this type of will go to some other containers or bins. Like this, use of conveyor belts are involved, then collecting, stocking and reloading of remaining waste. And the type of operation which are fully mechanized, like unloading of waste. First, size reduction. We will see these activities in the next few more lectures. So first, size reduction. So for the size reduction, some shredder machine or crusher machine will be used. Size separation for different types of sizes after this shredding or cutting, screening devices are used. For high density waste, separation methods will be there. For magnetic type of waste, iron waste, separation of waste by some magnetic conveyor belts may be used. Compaction of waste through balers or crushers or compactors, and further reloading of waste according to their different segregated types, and then stockpiling of the waste. Now, public health. So, in solid waste management, primary health benefit is the control of pathogens or bacteria or viruses that spread many types of diseases. By consolidating the residential and some commercial waste, then by using appropriate disposal technology, habitat is reduced. Habitat means the pathogen's habitat is reduced or eliminated for rodents and insects that poses a public health risk. Another health benefit is the control of disposal methods that prevent indiscriminate burning or burial methods that could pose long-term and acute health risks, because burning or burial methods are very much harmful to the environment, like air environment and also soil and water environment. Frequent collection of waste is desirable for health and aesthetic purpose also. Frequent collection reduces the concerns about health, safety and nuisance associated with the stored stored waste. The storage container should be securely covered and stored. A health risk to the collectors or waste workers and the odor on the street should be minimized. Administrative authorities should appoint a medical officer to check the health of workers and people involved in this type of activities in solid waste management. Each worker should be given the protective equipment like proper mask and gloves and high boots, so that the manual handling activities should be hygienic wherever it is applicable in solid waste management activities. So in the next lecture we will see about the processing and other activities or other rules which we should follow in the regarding the processing of the waste.